Every government on Earth wrote a list of things a car needs to be allowed on public roads. Lights, mirrors, a horn, functioning brakes. They wrote it for normal people making normal decisions. They did not write it for engineers who took it as a personal challenge. These are the cars those engineers built. Every requirement met, every inspector satisfied, and no business being anywhere near a Tuesday morning. Every single one of them should have to explain itself. Porsche 911 GT3 RS, $243,000, 525 horsepower, naturally aspirated 4.0-liter flat six, 9,000 revolutions per minute redline, a rear wing so large it has its own aerodynamic subsystems. At 124 miles per hour, it generates over 860 pounds of downforce in a car that weighs 3,268 pounds. It is pressing itself into the road with a force equivalent to a quarter of its own body weight, purely from air on a road with a posted limit. The GT3 RS ran the Nürburgring in 6 minutes and 49 seconds, one of the fastest laps ever recorded by a production car on that circuit. 12.9 miles, 154 corners, documented history of killing drivers who misjudge it. Porsche sent a production car there and came back with a number that made the internet briefly stop arguing about other things. The entire Cayenne and Macan lineup exists, so Porsche can afford to build this. Every dentist who bought a Cayenne for the school run is, without knowing it, a patron of this specific engineering project. It is street legal because it has headlights and someone checked the boxes. The boxes were not designed with this car in mind. GT3 RS owner told themselves it was an investment, drove it to 3 track days in the first month. The investment story got quieter after that. Nobody brought it up again. Everyone was fine with this. Buy it if you are genuinely going to track it. If you're not, buy the GT3 and stop lying to yourself about the wing. Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170, $96,666. That price was not an accident. 1,025 horsepower on 91 octane pump gas. 4,280 pounds with the driver. 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds. A number that puts it in the same conversation as purpose-built drag cars on a prep track. Except this one came with air conditioning, a touch screen, and a valid registration. The NHRA, the governing body of professional drag racing in America, banned the Demon 170 from their events. The car specifically designed and explicitly marketed for drag racing was banned from drag racing, while remaining street legal. The car can do something on a public road that it is not allowed to do at a professional racing facility. Process that for a second, bro. It came standard with one front seat. The passenger seat was an optional $1 delete item. The airbag warning sticker lists passenger weight requirements for a seat the car didn't come with. Demon 170 owner has their own business, a floor drain in their garage, and a very clear understanding of the difference between what's allowed and what's advisable. These are not the same list. They made peace with that before signing the paperwork. Buy it if you have somewhere legal and long enough to use first gear properly. If your longest straight is a highway on-ramp, a Hellcat is right there and it has a passenger seat. Dodge Viper ACR, around $120,000 at end of production. 645 horsepower, V10, 8.4 liters. A naturally aspirated engine displacing more cubic inches than most car engines have cylinders. The Viper ACR Extreme Aero package generates more downforce than a NASCAR Cup car at speed. The street-legal Dodge Viper, sold at your local dealership next to the Ram trucks, produces more aerodynamic force than a car that races professionally in front of 100,000 people. Because someone at Dodge asked if it was possible, and the answer was apparently yes. Between 1992 and 2017, the Viper was involved in more fatal single-vehicle accidents per unit sold than almost any other production car in American history. No traction control until 2013. Side exhaust pipes that caused third-degree burns if a bag touched the door sill. Dodge knew. Sold it anyway for 25 years. People lined up. Some were not ready. The Viper had nothing to say about that. The ACR is not a beginner's car. It is barely an experienced driver's car. It is a specific machine for a specific person who has done the reading. That person is not asking for your opinion. They already know. Buy it if you have serious track experience in something that was already trying to kill you. If you don't, the Viper will provide the education and you will not enjoy the tuition. Mercedes-AMG AMG GT63 4-door coupe, estimated at $210,000 to $230,000. 3 axial flux electric motors, 1 at the front axle, 2 at the rear, on Mercedes' new AMG.EA 800-volt platform, 1,169 PS, just over 1,150 horsepower, 1,475 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in approximately 2.0 seconds, 4 doors, a proper boot, child seat anchor points in the rear, child seat anchor points in a car making 1,150 horsepower. Mercedes didn't get here by turboing a V8 harder. They built an entirely new dedicated AMG electric platform, put 3 axial flux motors on it, ran it at 800 volts, and arrived at a number no combustion 4-door has ever touched, then added rear headroom, then added a luggage compartment. Then nobody removed any of that, and it went to production exactly as described. Here's the part that makes it genuinely wrong. The Viper announces itself. The Caterham announces itself. The Atom announces itself from 3 streets away. The AMG GT63 4-door does 2.0 seconds to 60 in complete silence. No exhaust, no warning. One moment it is a composed 4-door luxury car at a light. The next moment it is somewhere else entirely. Top speed 186 miles per hour with the AMG Performance Package, in something with cup holders, with a glove box, with a rear bench your children will sit in on school mornings. Every one of those features has no business being in the same vehicle as those numbers. Nobody removed them. Nobody suggested it. A MG GT63 owner does the school run Monday through Friday, has a car seat in the back, has never once mentioned the horsepower figure to another parent in the pickup line, has thought about mentioning it, decided against it. The 2.0 seconds does the talking on the way out. Buy it if you are comfortable with nothing around you hearing you coming. If you need the exhaust note to feel like it counts, this car will not give you that. It will give you everything else. Caterham 7620R, about $70,000, 310 horsepower, 1,080 pounds. The Caterham 7 design has not fundamentally changed since 1957, before the Beatles, before the first commercial jet, before anyone had been to space. Still being built and sold brand new in 2026. The 620R does 0 to 60 in 2.79 seconds in something that predates modern safety standards, was never redesigned to meet them, and received an exemption because it is classified as a kit car and plays by completely different rules. There is no windshield. There is a small wind deflector. You need goggles, not sunglasses, goggles, to drive a road-registered vehicle on a public road in 2026. No airbags, no stability control. The roll bar is a hoop behind your head that will do its best. The seatbelt is a racing harness that requires you to know what you're doing to put on correctly. The manual is not enthusiastic about this. Caterham 620R owner is an engineer, specifically aerospace or structural. Uses power-to-weight ratio in casual conversation without noticing. Has never once admitted to being cold. Has a written philosophy about driving they could send you tonight if you want. Buy it if you know what oversteer feels like and what to do about it. If you've never thought about that before, the answer is also no. BAC Mono R, $75,000, 340 horsepower, 1,280 pounds. 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. 1 seat, not 2. 1. The BAC Mono R passed every required safety test, received a valid VIN, and can be registered and insured in most U.S. states. There is no passenger seat. There is no passenger side. There is 1 seat occupied by 1 person going somewhere alone at a speed that is not appropriate for most of the roads it will be driven on. If you want to take a passenger anywhere, you need a second vehicle. The owner has resolved the which car should we take conversation permanently by eliminating the option entirely. There is 1 car. It seats 1. The logistics follow from that. Somewhere, an inspector signed off on the roadworthiness of a single-seat carbon fiber machine and then drove home in a Corolla and didn't mention it to anyone. BAC Mono R owner is the most specific buyer on this list. No casual mono purchase. No, I was just browsing. If you own one, you made a deliberate, considered decision about the kind of person you are and bought the vehicle that matches that exactly. Buy it if you've made peace with the logistics. If you still need to explain the 1-seat thing to someone in your life, that conversation isn't over yet. Ariel Atom 500 V8, approximately $150,000. 500 horsepower, 1,200 pounds. No body panels, literally none. You are sitting in a space frame chassis with a seat and a V8 behind your head. No door, no roof, no protection between you and the air, except the helmet you brought, because the Atom does not provide one. Jeremy Clarkson drove one on Top Gear, and his face physically distorted from the acceleration. His cheeks went sideways, his lips went somewhere separate. A man's face moved laterally due to a car. That clip has been watched tens of millions of times. It is the most honest review ever given of any vehicle. No words necessary. 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, in something that weighs less than a grand piano, with an exhaust note that makes nearby dogs reconsider their choices. Ariel Atom owner has done track days in multiple countries, doesn't own a television, and has very specific opinions about tire compounds they will share regardless of whether you asked. You will actually learn something. Buy it if you own a helmet and have used it recently. If your only open-air driving experience is a Jeep Wrangler with the doors off, this is a different category of problem entirely. KTM X-Bow GTXR, $250,000, 500 horsepower, 1,870 pounds. Open cockpit, no windshield, no roof. A license plate on the back. KTM makes motorcycles, dirt bikes, motocross bikes, enduro bikes ridden by people who treat injury as a scheduling inconvenience. They have no history building cars, no automotive division, no heritage in four-wheel engineering. Then someone at KTM asked what would happen if they built a car using the same people who design machines for professional motocross, not automotive engineers, the motorcycle people, and pointed them at the problem. The answer is the X-Bow. Aerodynamics borrowed from single-seater racing cars. Suspension with no interest in your comfort and no obligation to pretend otherwise. The brief was apparently remove everything that isn't faster. That brief was followed without exception. It has a VIN. Owners have driven it to work. Not many, but some. KTM X-Bow owner came from motorcycles, specifically track motorcycles, decided four wheels was the responsible choice, and then immediately found the least responsible version of four wheels available. Currently on their second set of tires this season. Has no opinion on this. Buy it if the Atom felt a little too mainstream. If you still want a windshield, start lower on this list. Rimac Nevera, $2.4 million, 1,914 horsepower, 4 electric motors, 0 to 60 in 1.74 seconds. In an electric vehicle that charges at a public station like a Nissan Leaf. That has a frunk, that has a cup holder, that has a glove box. A car with a glove box that is faster than every internal combustion production car ever built. The glove box has no business being there. Nobody removed it. Rimac was founded in 2009 in Croatia by a man who started converting old BMWs to electric in his garage as a teenager. That company now holds a majority stake in Bugatti, bro. The kid doing amateur electric conversions is now a majority owner of the most famous automotive brand in the world. The car industry is genuinely not normal, and this is Exhibit A. The 1.74 second 0 to 60 is a verified figure. It is one of the fastest accelerating production cars ever built, and the verified record holder at time of writing. It does not wait for you to be ready. It does not check. It is already at 60 while you are still processing that you press the accelerator. Nevera owner got there early. Before 40, has not fully decided what to do with the rest of the time. Is currently working on it. Buy it if you've already owned something fast and difficult and survived the adjustment period. If this is your first serious car, the 1.74 seconds will introduce you to yourself in a way you are not prepared for. Mercedes-AMG ONE, $2.7 million, 1,063 horsepower, 275 units total. A hybrid powertrain derived directly from Lewis Hamilton's 2014 and 2015 Formula One championship-winning car. Not inspired by, not based on, derived from. The same architecture that won back-to-back world championships put into a two-seat road car and driven on public roads by people who are not Lewis Hamilton. The F1 hybrid unit requires service at intervals similar to a Formula One racing engine. The AMG ONE has an effective mileage budget, around 2,500 miles per year in some ownership situations. Your car has conditions. Your car is on parole. The engine revs to 11,000 revolutions per minute in a street car. Mercedes had to have a very specific conversation with emissions regulators about cold start behavior for an F1 hybrid system that nobody in that room had ever seen before. They had the conversation, they got the approval, the car exists. A MG1 owner has driven it exactly twice. has documentation of both occasions, is currently in a respectful but ongoing disagreement with their insurance company about the definition of normal use. The insurance company is losing, slowly, but losing. Buy it if your schedule genuinely supports 2,500 miles a year and you have people managing the service logistics. If you were planning to daily it, the GT3 RS is still available and won't need an F1 rebuild interval. Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut, approximately $3 million, 1,600 horsepower on E85, 125 units, all sold before most people knew it existed. The Jesko Absolut has a theoretical top speed of 330 miles per hour. Not tested, not verified anywhere on Earth. Theoretical because there is no track long enough, smooth enough, and legally accessible enough to find out. The Autobahn is not straight enough. The Bonneville salt flats are not smooth enough at that speed. The engineers ran the simulations, arrived at 330 miles per hour, and the conversation about where to test it became a problem nobody has fully solved. A commercial airliner cruises at roughly 575 miles per hour. The Jesko Absolut is targeting 57% of that on tires, on a road, with a person inside who paid $3 million for the privilege of going somewhere that doesn't exist yet. Christian von Koenigsegg hand-delivered the first one to its owner. He's been building cars with his name on them since 1994 and has never once appeared to question whether any of it was a reasonable idea. He is the most competent person in any room he has ever been in and has the engineering data to prove it. Jesko Absolut owner has already had every conversation, has considered every objection, has the car. Conversation over. Buy it if you are one of the 125 people who already did, in which case you're not reading this. If you're not, there is no action item here, just the knowledge that it exists and someone bought it and is currently figuring out where on earth to use it. Every car on this list read the same rule book, satisfied the same inspectors, got the same plate. The rule book was written for people making normal decisions. None of these people were making normal decisions. The GT3 RS is the entry point, the most rational car on an irrational list. Track days on weekends, coffee on the way home, functioning member of society again by Monday. The Demon 170 is the American answer to all of it. 1,025 horsepower, one seat, banned from the drag strip, valid street registration. Nobody does this like America. Everything above that is a commitment, not to a car, to a version of yourself that has decided how much margin between driving and consequence you're willing to give up. Some of these cars give you almost none. All of them pass the test. None of them were what the test was written for. Hit subscribe. Every car on this channel gets explained the way it actually works. No brochure talk, no dealership version, no cap. See you in the next one.